Okay. So for today, Wednesday, February 7th, I'm already going to go to the doctor this morning. I didn't get to go after school because the doctor did not take me until today. So that's why I'm out. So I don't know if I'm going to be back on Thursday and Friday. Hopefully, yes. We'll see what the doctor tells me. But for today, Wednesday, you'll be doing this one. It's what we've been doing. What I've done here is give you a couple of notes in case the doctor tells me that I have something like the flu or one of those, which means I can't go back until Monday. But if he doesn't, what's good for me, I'll be back. Hopefully, God willing, Thursday and Friday. But we're still working with additive multiple relationships. Y equals x plus b or y equals x plus a, same thing. Y equals kx, a letter next to a number means multiply, and y equals ax. Or y equals, the k basically is the number, guys. Whatever number you're multiplying by, the a will be the number, which is your constant. Again, x is always your independent, y is your dependent, y depends on x. This is just a summary of how we can use a table to identify the independent quantities. How is the graph of a multiplicative relationship different from the graph of an additive? We talked about that, which I talk about this. Now, this is just so you can remember that additive relationships mean you add the same number to any x value to get the corresponding y value. It's not the same number every time. It is not an additive relationship. Okay? So basically, if the number changes like plus 2 and then plus 3 and then plus 4, that means it's not an additive relationship. Subtraction, of course, can be an additive relationship because subtracting a number is the same as adding a negative number. So we already talked about that. Subtraction still means additive. Multiplicative is when you multiply the x value times the same number to get the corresponding y value. Okay? If it's not the same number, then it's not a multiplicative situation. Division can be a multiplicative relationship because dividing by a number is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. For example, 12 divided by 4 is the same thing as 12 times 1/4. So here's an example of additive, here's an example of multiplicative. This is your x, this is your y, independent, dependent, independent, dependent. And of course, when you graph, your additive will not go through 0. Additive will not go through the origin 0, 0. Okay? Multiplicative relationship, it's input output. The relationship is multiplying. In this case, for example, it's going to be times 4, times 4, times 4, times 4, times 4. That's how I know. It could also mean divide. In this case, it would be divide by 10, divide by 10, divide by 10, divide by 10, which is the same thing as times 1/10. Okay? This one, by the way, let me go back to this one. This one was, now sometimes we can't figure out plus what. So what you want to do, you want to subtract these two so we can see plus what. In this case, it's plus 13. 14 plus 13 is 27. 72 plus 13 would be 85. 35 plus 13 would be 48. So this is plus, plus, plus. This one would be minus. Now again, if I can't figure out minus what, you will subtract them. And you'll figure out, in this case, it's minus 4. 62 minus 4, 58. 92 minus 4, 80. 102 minus 4, 98. 66 minus 4, 62. 38 minus 4, 34. So both of this is minus, which is still an additive relationship. This is add, which is still an additive relationship. And the graph always looks like this, but it will not go through the origin. Multiplicative is going to be times, 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 or divide by, divide by, divide by. Now, the first thing you're going to do is really simple, because some of you are having trouble with a rule. So, since you're having trouble with a rule, I decided to okay, so let me get the pen. So here we have the x over another ratio from x to y. Okay, so they already told me that the relationship is plus 6. Find out the equation is going to be y equals x plus 6. It's right there. So all I want you to do in this case, you're going to click here, and let me go back to this. They already told you that x is 0, so all I'm going to do, I'm going to change the letter x to 0. 0 plus 6, and then you're going to tell me it's 6. You see the x again? The 3 is going to become the x. 3 plus 6 is 9. Then the x is going to become a 7. 7 plus 6 is 13. That's all you're going to do on these tables. Okay? Was it? Hopefully not. Okay? Oh, now these you don't have to copy them in the journal. They're simple. It's just a quick review on what we're doing. When we're going from x to y, the relationship, we're either adding or subtracting. Those are your additives. Or we're multiplying the number next to the multiply, or we're dividing. Okay, I'm going to do one of each table, and then you're going to go and do it on your own. So here the x minus 1. So 1 is the x. 1 minus 1 would be 0. You finish the others. This one is 3 times 0. The x is 0. 3 times 0 would be, so I'm going to go 3. Shift 9 is parentheses to show times tables. 0. Shift close parentheses, which is shift 0. 3 times 0 would be 0. And then finish the rest. This is divide. X is 4. So I'm going to go. I prefer you do it like a fraction. And move myself out of the way. So when you press this, you're going to do it as a fraction. This one. So who goes on top? 4. That's the x. And the bottom, what they gave you, 2. Now 4 divided by 2 would be 2. So the way I did each of them, this one I did it already. Just finish these two, finish these two, finish these two, and you're done with that part. Okay? Now this one is a little bit tougher. We haven't done some of these, but I'm going to show you how easy it is. Sometimes they give you the Y. So when they give you the Y, we have to do the reverse. Okay? Basically, we have to do the inverse. So if I want to go from 1, it says x divided by 4 is the relationship, right? But we don't know what the x is. We don't know. So I'm going to go reverse. Okay? So what's the inverse of divide multiply? So instead of saying, so that's my first job to figure out what the x is. So how do I figure it out? I'll get the 1 and multiply by 4. So what's 1 times 4? It'll be 4. So I know that here it has to be 4. Now that I have that, now I can put here my rule. Okay? Let's see. My rule. So my rule was 4 divided by 4, so I'm going to just write it right there. I don't know. You know what? Do not do this part. I need to fix this drag and drops here. So basically that's how it would work. 1 times 4 would be 4, so now I know that it would be 4 divided by 4, so you shouldn't drag right there. Then look, 2 times 4 would be how much? 2 times 4 would be 8, so I know that here it would be 8, so it would be 8 divided by 4 would be 4 right there, that one. And then 4 times 4 is 16, so that would be 16. And then you drag the last one. Okay? Same thing here. The way I did this, you have to do that, but I have to fix the. So the way I did this one, this is division, okay? Now this will be subtraction. So let's say these work. No. So I need to fix the drag and drop here, so I'm sorry about that. So this whole section don't do it. So you will be only doing that one. This one you'll skip. And then this is just notes again. Quick notes. Let me see what the notes are saying. So it's important that you always label who's independent, which is X, and who's independent, which is Y. On the tables and graphs. Sorry. The way you don't have to remember every time you read and answer choice. Okay, the work is already done. So X is always on the left side or on the top. Okay, so if it's X is always on the left side. If it's a vertical table, which is up and down, this is the X. Okay, so this would be the x, which is your independent, and this would be your y, which is your dependent. Those are vertical tables. Now horizontal tables, the top one is always your x, and the bottom is always your y. And I have it here. X is always on the left or the top, and y is on the right if it's vertical, or bottom if it's horizontal. So we can't forget those things. Okay. Now this, okay, now this we're going to do. Okay, so I'm going to do this one with you, and then of course you're going to do that one by yourself. Okay. So this one you will do it on your journal. So I'm going to put here, pretend this is my journal number 1. We have a table, and they have x and y. Okay. Now, if you notice, we have decimals and wholes. Whenever you have that, I recommend that we put quickly only the wholes, because those will be easy to figure out. So this is a whole, 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 whole. Don't forget that I do want the data always. This will be done in your homework journal of this. Now, what's the difference between x and y? Well, how can the 1 become a 120? But we know it's going to be times 120. So it will be y equals 120, because we're multiplying 120 times the x. There's the equation. That's how you will figure out the equation. But now the real question is, you want to know which of these statements is true. So let's start with A. The file size of the video is independent. If you notice, file size is right here with a Y. File size. Is that the independent? So I'm going to put here A. It is wrong, because Y is the dependent. Now let's look at B. The number of minutes of playing time determines the file size of the video. Will this side determine this? Yes, because this depends on X. So letter B will say, this is correct, this is right, because Y depends on X. So then I'm done with question 1. You're gonna bubble all around on your journal. And that's what I have to do on these. Okay. Well, the way I did number The way the number one is always the number two, or is it the same one? It's actually, it's not the same. It's the same story, but now we need to figure out things here. So it says the file of the video determines the number of minutes of playing time. You're gonna tell me if this statement is correct, yes or no, and tell me why. Just like I did over here. This one, in the pair of 2 to 40, which is this one at the end, the 2 represents the dependent and the 240 represents the independent. Tell me if that's true or false. So on your paper, all you have to do, you're gonna put, it's still under problem 1, but you're gonna do C and D. I already did A and B. You're going to answer C and D. So read the statement and check if it's true what it's saying. Read the statement and check if it's true. If it's not true, make sure you say it's wrong and you tell me why. So that's just all these on the top. They're just little warm-ups. Again, they should not take you long. They should be pretty fast. This we're skipping until I fix those drag and drops. This is just notes to remind you that the X is always this one, which is independent. The Y is dependent. The Y depends on the X. So the X determines the Y. So this depends, this determines, this will determine what's going to happen over here. Same thing over here. The Y is the dependent, he depends on the X, and the X is the one that determines what's going to happen in the time. Basically, the more I travel on the road, the more miles I make. So this amount of miles will determine the Y. That's why this is the dependent. And that's how what I just mentioned will answer A, B, which I already did. C, D is your part. Now these are the good ones. Now all this stuff. There's going to be a total of 20 questions. Okay? But I'm going to show you something. Okay. So what I've done here is this. What I've done here is this, guys. Basically what I've done is I have given you, for example, 1 in 5, we have a table and equations. 1 in 5 is about tables and equations. I'm going to do number 5 in the video, and you'll be doing number 1 in class. 2, 3, and 6, those are equations and tables. I will do 4, and you'll do the other 3. So whatever I do in 5, that's like number 1. Whatever I do in 4, that's like 2, 3, and 6. Now, what's the difference between these two? Well, sometimes they'll give you a table, and they want an equation. Sometimes they'll give you an equation, and they'll want a table. So I'm going to teach you how to do those. Now, 7 and 8, I call those graphs. So if I have a graph, I need to find the relationship between X and Y. So again, I'll do number 8, you'll do number 7. This one is called equations and tables with rational numbers. That means that we'll have decimals, fractions, integers, negatives, positives. So this one is, I consider this one equation and tables. So this one is like this one, guys. But now I'm throwing the rational numbers, which is everything, fractions, decimals, and your integers, negatives, and positives. So we have to be more careful. But the way I do number 10, you'll figure out 9, 15, and 19. Okay? Then we have here graphs and statements or tables and statements. Same thing. Okay, I'm going to teach you statements is basically your verbal. I'll do 13. I'm going to start 20 because I'm thinking about doing it also, but we'll see right now. So I'll do 13, the rest you'll be doing. Tables and graphs, I'll do 12 and you'll be doing those. So make sure that you keep track of this. I'm going to put it also in your guys' notes. Know that number 5 is like number 1. So what I would do is I would skip around in your homework journal. I would start number 5. As soon as I'm done with number 5, guess what I'm going to do? Number 1. Then I'll do number 4, then I'll go do 2, 3, and 6. Then I'll do number 8, and then you go do 7. So try to do them in that order. So I'll do 5, you do 1. I'll do 4, you do these 3, and so on. Now if I'm absent, you have, this is going to be due until Friday. So you have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Make sure that you do not take laptops home. They stay charging. And make sure you take care of those laptops. I don't want to see that you messed around with them. Please do not mess around with those laptops. So far, you've been wonderful. I thank you. Do not mess around with the laptops. Do not waste time either. So, hopefully, this helps you. So, I'm going to start with number 5. So, I'm going to scroll to number 5. And I want you to look at number 5. According to Mr. Rivera, number 5 is about tables and equations. There's your table, and here are your equations. That's what I'm talking about. So they gave me a table, but they want me to find out the equation. Now the other one, like that's number 5, is number 1. So after I'm done with number 1, I'm gonna go back. After I'm done with number 5, I'm gonna go back to number 1. And why is it still tables and equations? Because we still have tables and equations. So sometimes they'll give me the table and they want an equation. Sometimes they'll give you here it is. Here's the table and then the equation. So number 1 is, look, here's the table. And number 5, there's the table. Going back to number 1, there's the equations. Look at number 5. There's the equations. Now I chose 5 because that's the harder one. So the way I do number 5, I'm going to go and do number 1. So this one is like number 1. Okay, so this is like number 1. Okay, journal time. You're gonna go to your journal. So this is my journal right now. So you're gonna write the number, put the date, and here's how I want you to do it. You first copy the table. W for width, L for length, which is basically your X and your Y. Okay. Now, how do I do this? We're going to use the choices. When I have tables and equations, I'm going to use the choices to see which one makes sense. So we're going to start with letter A. You're going to copy the letter A, 128 divided by 2 equals length plus width. Now your first job is to use the table. So 128 divided by 2 equals. Now here's where you can choose whichever you want. I prefer that you choose numbers that are easier. Okay, so in this case, from all these, I probably would want to use either 4 and 16 or 8 and 8. I'm going to go with 4 and 16. Now you see the width is 4. You see the length is 16. So that L becomes a 16 and the width becomes a 4. Now that I change the letters to numbers, I can calculate. 16 plus 4 would be 20. 120 divided by 2, I'm going to go bottom on the side. 128 divided by 2. Not enough. Don't forget to put a decimal at the end in case we need it. 2 times what gives me 12? 2 times 6 gives me 12. And 2 times 4 gives me 8. So 128 divided by 2 gave me 64. Those are not equal. And that's why letter A should not be your answer. I'm done with letter A. Bubble all around. Then you're going to do letter B. 2 times 128 equals length times width. Okay, this is already numbered, so it's going to stay the same. And the length, we're going to use the same one that we used for the first problem. So who's the L? The L is this side, which is 16. The width is 4, because width is over here, 4. We need to calculate. 16 times 4, you go to the side, and that'll give you 64. 2 times 128, you go to the side. So this has to be done on the side. So you just go 16 times 4 in case you want to know. 24, 64. And then 128 times 2. 256. Those are not equal, so letter B is not the answer. Okay. Letter C is next. So let me put letter C right here. 128 divided by 2 equals length times, I'm going to put a dot now instead of the X, width. So 128 divided by 2, we already did that. Look, it's right here. 128 divided by 2 was 64. So I already know this guy is going to give me 64. Length times width, we're using the same one. So 4, not 4, 16 times 4. It doesn't matter. 4 times 16, you can reverse it. Okay, but really the L was 16 and the W was 4, but my bad. But it's okay because it's multiplying. Now, didn't we do already 16 times 4? Yes, we did right there. And what did we get? 64. So the answer is letter C. So there's no need to do letter D, but look at letter D, why is wrote down. One is plus and the other one is times, so you know it can't be it. Okay, that doesn't make sense. Now this one are okay because the inverse of division is multiply. Was that add? Oh, that was add. That one was quickly done too. Okay, but I did calculate. Anyway, the way the number 5 and your journal should look like this, you're trying all the choices, A, B, C. Now D I didn't try it, but you could have tried it. You could have said, okay, let's try D. Try D so you can see. Length times width. 128 plus 2 would be 130. The length becomes the 16 because we decided to go with that one. And the width becomes the 4. It doesn't matter which from the tables you choose, just so you know. Now this one we already did. It's right here. 16 times 4 is right here. 4 times 16 is 30. So you'll see that 64 is not equal to 130. And that's why letter D is also wrong. So there's you try the choices. You try A, check if it's true. If they match at the end, then it's correct. If they don't match, it's wrong. So like this one, 128 divided by 2 was 64. Length times width was 64, so they match. So that's why that's the answer. So once you're done, go to your teacher mate, and we know that that's the answer. The way I did number 5, you're going to do number 1. You're going to again make your table in the journal and try the choices. The H is this side, the V is this side. Okay? Remember, a number next to a letter means multiply, a number next to a letter means multiply. Make sure that you write the right numbers in the right place. Like, for example, H would be 2. We cannot put 20 in H. It's all this side. V would be this side. So you'll do number 1 by yourself. Okay, I'm done with tables and equations. Equation tables is going to be 2, 3, 4, and 6. Equations and tables. 2, 3, 4, and 6. If you notice, this time they give me the equation. You want to find the tables. Okay, number 3 again. There's your equations. There's your table. So we're going to try the choices. Number 4, there's your equation. There's the table. Number 6, there's the equation. There's the table. Okay, so that's why it's going to be 2, 3, 4, and 6. These are almost the same thing, just so you know, it's going to be the same strategy. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4, and 6. 2, 3, 4, and 6. Okay? So on this one, I'm going to do number 4. Why am I choosing number 4? Because that's the fractions ones. So here we go. Yours will be easier, guys, because yours will be wholes or decimals, something like that. Okay. Number 4. Number 4. Remember, you need to put the date. You're first going to copy your table. We have a P, which could be the X, and the K, which would be the Y. So we have fractions this time. 1/16, 9/16, 1/8, 5/8. 1/4, 1/2, 1/2. Okay. And then you have to decide which one you want to use. Okay. So I want to teach you to be smart. I'll tell you what I mean right now. So let's start with letter A. Letter A says P plus 1/8. So what I'm going to choose in this case is the one that has the eighth. Because when you're adding fractions, they have to have the same number on the bottom, the same denominator. So this is 16, this is 8, this is 4, this is half, which is wholes. So for letter A, I'm choosing this guy. So this one be for choice A. I'm choosing this one. Okay. So now let's change the letter to number. What's the letter that they have? P. So P is right here. And I see 1/8, so I want to be 1/8 plus 1/8. And that will give you 2/8. Now does a 2/8 match the 5/8? Of course not. So that's why letter A is out. So this is letter A. 2/8 was the answer, and that does not match the 5/8 we have here. That's why it's wrong. Let me do B. P plus 1/16. So which one do I use now? I will be using this for letter B. So who's P? Go to your table. P is 1/16. So I'm going to go 1/16 plus the 1/16 that was there already. 1 plus 1, 2, 2 what? 16. Now, did we get to 16 in the Y? No. So that's why that one is wrong. Letter C. P plus 1/2. Okay, so it's going to be this one for letter C because of the half is there. So who's P? Half. And what's a half and a half? A whole. And there it is. So letter C is the answer. Now a good student might check D just to make sure. So P plus 1/4. So who's the P? I'm going to be using this one, letter D. Who would be the P? The P would be this side, which is 1/4. Okay. So the answer is letter C. Go and press it here. Now the way I did number 4, you're going to do 2, 3, and 6. So let's look at those so you can see. Number 2, you're going to use this equation. 0.05 plus J. Okay. So again, you can choose whichever of the numbers. I would probably choose the ones that are easier to figure out and add. Okay. be careful with adding decimals. Make sure that they're lined up. That, for example, 10, you see this 10? It really means 10.00. You see that 10.5? You can say that really means 10.50. So when you plug it in here, you're going to see if it's true, that they belong together. That's number 2. Number 3, same thing. You see that 80? You're going to change N for 80. And then the 16 is already there. Now you're going to multiply. If that gives you that number on the bottom, that's the answer. Now think about it. If I multiply 80 times 16, do you think that become 5? No. 7 and 8, graphs and relationships. The X and Y relationship, 7 and 8. So here's your 7, here's your 8. So they give you a graph. They gave you a graph. And here's the relationship. So let's see what happens. So my first job is, which one I'm going to do? I'm going to do number 8. You're going to do number 7. So I'm going to do number 8. So number 8. I already told you when you have a graph, your first job is to create a table. And we're going to get them all, not just a couple. So let's go to the first point. The first point, we have 1, and it's in between 5 and 10. So 1 in between 5 and 10 will be in the middle of 5 and 10. So we have 6, 7, 8, and 9. So it's probably about what? 7.5 more or less. Okay. What's between $5 and $10? About $7.50. The next one is 2.15. The next one is 3. Again, it's between 20 and 25. So it's going to be 3 and between 20 and 25. Let's think about it. We have 21, 22, 23, 24. We have, so it would be 22.50. In case you're wondering, like, how is he getting the, I'm thinking this way, guys. So if you notice, let me zoom in on more. If you notice, when they fall between, right here, I know that between 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So between 5 and 10, we have all these numbers, 6, 7, 8, 9. But since we want the between, and it's right smack in the middle, I know that it will be right here. So what's between 7 and 8? 7.50. Okay? So that's why I knew a 7.50. Same thing with the one, the 22.50. Right here between 20 and 25. If I do that again and go, okay, 20, 21, 22, 23, 22, 24, and 25. You see this one? It's between those. So I know that it's going to be 1, 2, and then there's 1, 2, so it's going to fall between these two. And what's between 22 and 23? 2250. So that's how I'm getting the ones that are between. So let's continue. Let me erase this. I made a mistake right there. Okay. Make this a little bit. Okay. Here we go. So let me zoom so you can see again. So I already did 3, 22, 50. Now we have 4 with 30. Okay. Oh, my whole table deleted. I'm so sorry. Number 8. X, Y. Let me do it quickly. So we have 1 in between 5 and 10. We said it was 750. We have 2 and then we have 15. So 2 is X, Y is 15. And then we have over here 3 and 2250. We have 4 and 30. And this might help some of you, like some of you that are having trouble. You can do, okay, from here to here we have 1. That's the X. And right here it will be between. That's why I got the 750. Let me do one that's already like perfect, like this guy. 2. And of course over here 15. That's where I'm getting those. So in case you're like, how's he doing that? That's the way I'm doing it. Okay. Okay. Now 5. And again, it's between 35 and 40. So it would be 37, 50. And finally we have 6. And here we have 6 with who? With 45. So there's my table ready. Now let me read the question. Which list represents the independent values? So let's go back to your table. Who's independent, X or Y? X is the independent and Y is the dependent. The question was the independent, which means that they want the X. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are all independent values. So we look at this one. They have the 1 there, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, and the 6. But they messed up because they also put the 750. And the 750 is not independent. He will be dependent. That's why this choice is dumb. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's not even here. Only some of them are there. That's dumb. 750, 15, that's this one. 750, 15, 2250, 30, 37. So this is all there, but they have it as what? Oh, this side is who? Dependent. So that's why that one is dumb. They want that independent. So what's independent? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the answer is that. So I just click on it and I'm done with that. The way I did number 8, you're going to do number 7. You're going to, but yours is easier because they're all holes. I got the hard one because it fell between. So number 7, you're going to do it by yourself. You're going to write the table on the side on your journal, get all the points, and then check what they want. In this case, they say which list shows the dependent quantities in the graph. So on your journal, you're going to write the question 7 and do it. Those are easy. Now we're going to talk about equation tables with rational numbers. That's with fractions, decimals, integers, negatives, and positives. So we have 9, 10, 15, 19. 9, 10. Here's the 9. Equations and tables, but you see, now they're working with decimals. 10. Equations and tables. 9, 10, 15, 19. Again, the equation tables. 19. Equations tables. Okay? So I said I'm going to do number 10. And you're going to do 9, 15, 19 by yourself, being careful. So number 10, right here. The reason I chose number 10 is because this is a two-step problem. So I'm doing 10, you're going to do the 9, 15, and 19 by yourself. I might do another one. Let's see right now. 5n plus 6. That's what they gave me. 5n plus 6. Okay? Now this one I have to read so I can know who's who. Okay? So it says, which table contains the first 5 terms of the arithmetic sequence represented by the expression 5n plus 6 and represents the position of the term? So look what it says. N represents the position. So now I know that position should be getting an N. 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 Now I know that who's the N? That position. So we're going to start with letter A. Again, get whichever you want. Okay? What I recommend you do is, since we're trying all the choices, get one that is that they're different. For example, 1, 7, 1, 5, 1, 11, 1, 11. So you see how these two have 111 the same? So I would not want to use 111 here. Okay? So let's start with letter A. I'm going to get the first one. 1, 7. So 5 is there. N was the position. N represents the position. So times, a letter next to a number means times. So the position, you see the position is 1. That's the one I'm using. Plus 6. That's the equation that was given to us in the story. Now what's 5 times 1? 5. Bring it down. 5 plus 6. That would be 11. Now letter A. If n is 1, you see the n is 1. The y should be what? 11. And guess what they have? They have 7. That's why that one is wrong. So letter A is wrong. Then what you do? You will just box around letter A. And now let's do letter B, which is this one. Okay? So letter B, there's the equation. Again, I'm going to use the first two. 1 and 5. So 5 times a number next to letter means multiply. That's why I'm putting the parentheses to show multiply. And the position is 1. Now the plus 6 was already there. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 6, you bring it down. And that's 11. So they're saying that when it's a 1, you should be getting an 11. Again, it's a 1 and you got a what? A 5. That's why that's dumb. Now, when there's a 1, you should be getting 11. When there's a 1, you should be getting 11. Look at letter C. There's the 1 and we got 11. There's the 1 and we got 11. So now I know that letters C and D are the good ones. They gave me 11. But which one am I going to choose? Here's what you're going to do when this happens. You're going to get the next one. Just make sure they're different. Like you see how 111, 111, don't choose never to check. Don't choose the ones that are the same. Because then you're not going to know which one is it. So now I'm going to choose 212 and 216. So let's start with letter C. This is A, B, C. So letter C. Letter C says, and copy the equations 5n plus 6. That one right there, I got it from the story right here. I got it from right here. 5 times n is the position. We decided that in the beginning. So don't choose 111, we'll choose the second one. So now n would be 2, so that n becomes a 2. What's 5 times 2? 10 plus 6, 16. So look at this one. 2 and they put what? 12. That's why that one is wrong. Now check it out. 2, 16. That should be right. Okay? Now check. A good student will check. D. Write your equation. The n is going to become 2. We already know it's D the answer because this one is wrong also. But I'm going to test it. 5 times, who's the n? 2. 5 times 2 is 10. And 10 plus 6 is what? 16, which matches there. That's why the answer is that one. So now that I have checked all the choices, D is the answer. The way I did number 10, you will do 9, 15, and 19. Same way. So 9, there's your equation. Please be careful because you are dealing with decimals. Okay? You are dealing with decimals. Let me do one only. So just so you can see. One choice. So we have R equals Q plus 10.1. It was given here. And I'm going to use table A. And I'm going to decide what I'm going to use. You can use 550.5, 7, or 9, or 11. I'm going to go with the first one, 550.5. So you see the R, it's 50.5. So you see that R, 50.5 equals. Now who's the Q in this table? Well, Q is right here. And who's the Q? 5. Now, do you think that if I had $5 with $10, it's gonna give me 50? No, but here's how you do. I'm gonna show you what you do. So this is 5 holes making money. This is 10 point needs to be lined up with 1 over here, so 10 cents. Add them up. That does not match that. So that's why letter A is not the answer. So letter A is not the answer because it did not work. So you're going to try letter B, same thing, letter C, D. You're going to use the equation, substitute the letters for numbers, and calculate. Remember that when you're adding decimals, the wholes stay with the wholes and the parts stay with the parts. So you need to add zeros if it doesn't have any. So that's how you do number 9. The other one you're going to do is 15 and 19. So let's look at those so we can see how tough they are. Nada más está bien fácil. Okay? You're just going to change the letter Y with one of these and the X with one of these. Okay? Remember that if it works for 2 problems, then you need to go try another one. So if it works, let's say that this one works, this one works, well, it's the same as that one. So these two will be right. So I don't have to try another set. Remember, a number next to a letter means multiply. Okay? Let me do one only again. Y equals 3x. And I'm going to do table A. Who's the Y? 1. Parentheses means times. Who's the X? 3. What's 3 times 3? 9. Does that equal 1? No, it doesn't. That's why the answer of A should not be the answer. Then you write B, write the equation first, and then choose which you're going to use. Okay? This is the next, by the way. So that Y is going to become 3, and the X is going to become 1. Then you test it if it works. You need to test the rest, because look, if this one works, then this one works too, because they're the same. Look, 1 3 1 3. So be careful when they're the same. That's why I like to choose something that's going to be different from the others, because if they're the same, you're going to not know what to choose. Okay, that's the way you do number 15. Okay. 19, same thing. We have an equation, but this is times. So let me do the equation. Y equals 0.1 times x. So again, I'm going to do one so you can see how it works. Okay, so letter F. You see the Y? You're going to change it to something. I recommend that you try to get from the middle. Okay, so I'm going to get the 10 and the 100. That's something easy. Who's the Y? 100. Who's the X? 10. So 0.1 times 10. How do I multiply decimals? You treat them like wholes. 10 times, take away the decimal 1. What's 10 times 1? 10. But we know he has 1 place value, so I'm going to go 1. So is $1 equal to 100? No, they're not. That's why letter F is done. The way I did this one, go look for the choices. Like I said, try to get something in the middle. Okay? Remember that when you multiply decimals, you just multiply like wholes 10 times 1, but then we need to put it back. That's why I moved 1 back, because it was really 0.1. Okay? Now, we're going to go with graphs and statements and tables and graphs. That will be for Thursday. So this is only for tomorrow. For tomorrow, for Wednesday, February 7th. Okay, so this one is the one, this one is what you need to do. Then you're gonna click finish later. Tomorrow I will do the video for these. Okay, you're gonna put here finish later. Okay, so what's for homework again? Or what do you have to do in class? If you don't finish, you have to do it at home. You need to do number 1. I already did number 5. So you need to do 5 also. So while you're watching the video, you copy what I did in number 5. You need to do number 4, and then you do 2 and 3 and 6. You need to do number 8 with me in the video, and then you do 7. You need to do number 10 in the video with me, and then you do the rest. Like I said, this is due until Friday, so if you don't get to finish all of them, but the next day you continue. I'll have video part 2 of this. So right now let's take care of the first part. Okay, let me stop it. Make sure you watch the video, guys.